Okay, welcome everybody. We're on Daf Dalet and Aleph, about 5 lines from the bottom. So the subject is that Chazal required Shliach to say that he had seen the writing and the signing, and Rabbi Chokas Rav and Rava was talking to beat that a couple of pages more. Is the reason because we don't know if it's Lishma, because the Chos Laros they're not so bucky Lishma, or is it because verifying the signatures? So we're trying to look for proofs from different halachas that we have, and here we're 5 lines from the bottom. Tanan. We're on Dalet and Aleph, 5 lines from the bottom. Tanan. The Mishnah said that the Chachamim, there were a few opinions in the Mishnah. There was Tanakama, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Lezer, then Chachamim. So the first we spoke about if it's from overseas, Medina Sayyam. Second Madama says even if it's close by. Third Madama says even if it's close, even if it's enveloped in Eretz Yisrael. And then the Chachamim say only Medina Sayyam, which is the same as Tanakama, but also Hamolech. Also, if you go the opposite direction, from Eretz Yisrael to Chos Laretz, so it seems to be a machlokes. If you bring a get from Eretz Yisrael to Chos Laretz, you have to say B'fanei Nechta. So now which seems to be the question that we're talking about. Mechlal. Thank you, Mr. Mechlal. Tanakama Sava Molech Lo Tzorech. It seems to be arguing about this question about going from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz, and that should be dependent on Amachlokes. If the reason is because of Lishma, so it's only a problem one direction, only from Chutz Laretz to Eretz Yisrael, because the get was written in Chutz Laretz. But if it was the other direction, Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz, and Eretz Yisrael they do know. So according to that Mandi Amar, you should not have to say B'fanei Nachtav coming from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz. If the reason is because of signatures, confirmation, to verify the signature, so there's no difference which direction you go. There's no traveling between Eretz Yisrael and Chutz Laretz, and you should have to say both ways. So the more thinks that it hit upon the machlokes. My love is that not what they're arguing about? The Tanakama that says that implies that you don't have to say if you're going from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz, is because the whole reason is because of knowing Lishma. And in Eretz Yisrael, they do know Lishma. Amud Beis, the people in Eretz Yisrael do know. So there's no reason to say if you're bringing a get from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz. And the other mandama, the Chachamim will say that Molech does have to say bringing from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz. Why? Because the issue is because of verification. So and there's no travel communication between the two places. Eretz Yisrael and Chutz Laretz, no matter which way you're going, there's no communications. That's why you should have to say. So the more things that have hit upon the machlokes, you have to say because of Lishma or because of verification. It seems to be machlokes in the Mishnah. The Gemara says no, it's not, nothing to do with that. Each Amora could explain the Mishnah according to his opinion. Each Mandama could explain the whole Mishnah was like him. And Rabbah is the one who says it has to do with Lishma. So the question is going to be, so how come you have to say from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz? Everybody holds the reason is because of Lishma, and really you should not have to say if you're coming from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz. They made a gzera. Maybe they made a gzera. You're right. They really from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz you don't have to say. But since from Chutz Laretz to Eretz Yisrael you do have to say, so we have to make it both directions, and a lot of people shouldn't get confused. So it was only made a gzera, and that's what they're arguing about. Did they make a gzera that just a proportion in order to make sure that they say it on the way to Eretz Yisrael, they should also make it from Eretz Yisrael. Maybe that's the machlokes. She made a gzera. Everybody should hold the business Lishma, and you should not have to say if I nachtav coming from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz. But maybe they instituted that you should, in order that there shouldn't be any confusion. Always when bringing a get overseas, no matter which direction you go, say even though it only makes sense. Well, the reason only because of one direction. So Rabbi took care of that, and Rabbi has to explain if the reason is because of to verify the signature, so it should be both ways. How come the Tanakama seems to imply that you don't have to say only bringing Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael? How about Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz? And you should have to say both directions. There's no machlokes. Tanakama would have said maybe get from Medina Sayyam. And he didn't explain how about the other direction. So the Chachamim explained, don't make a mistake. Everybody else you have to go both directions. There is no machlokes. So just to sum up what just happened, the Mishnah seemed to have machlokas. If you have to say panei nechtam on the way from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, if you bought a gift from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, l'chorah should be dependent on these two opinions: is it because of lishma or because of kiyum? And the Gemara says not necessarily. Everybody can explain it their own shot. Either the reason is because of lishma, but some what goes there, the Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, so do it also on the way from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz in order to make sure that there's no confusion. But really, you shouldn't have. There's only Gzeira. And other Shita will say that everybody holds the reason is because of Kiyum, and you do have to say it both directions. And even though the Mishnah only said in the beginning, maybe, the Chachamim come to explain and say it's a maybe, and there's no difference. So we tried, but we didn't find that it's dependent on this machlokus. So we're still looking on the lookout till we find the raya, anyway, the two opinions. So next, yes.
According to Rabba, in Achnami, it's because of that from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, even though the Kiyum Lishma is just Atu.
Right, that's going to be a machlokus. It's going to be a machlokus Tanakama and the Rabbanan Basroi, and the machlokus is going to be if they made a gzeira or not. Inherently, you shouldn't have to, but they made a gzeira maybe, and according to Rabba, inherently you do have to, and there's no machlokus. Everybody holds you have to say it both directions. So we still didn't find raya to our question: is it because of Lishma or was it because of verification? Next raya, Tanan. Maybe get in Medina, the Medina, but Medina Sayom, so the Mishnah says if she bought a get from one place, one province to another province in Chutz La'aretz, you do have to say. Now that's going to count everybody because it's a Chutz La'aretz, you have to say, and it's Medina Lamdina, so there's no travel, there's no confirmation. So far everybody's good. The Mishnah alone makes sense to count everybody. But the question is what the deal is going to be, what you can apply, what the Mishnah applies. Also Medina, but Medina Sayom. Also we can imply, it does imply, we can infer from here that if it will be in the same Medina, in the same province, even though it's Chutz La'aretz, you don't have to say. That doesn't make sense. If you're the reason because of Lishma, then you always have to say. The problem is Lishma. They don't know about Lishma and Chutz La'aretz, so not everybody knows. So you should have to say even in the same Medina. And that doesn't make sense according to Rabbah. The Rabbah Nichel, the Rabbah Kash. According to Rabbah, the reason is because of confirmation. So in the same Medina, there's confirmation. It's easy to find verification. But according to Rabbah, it has to do with Lishma. So why should they not have to say the panei nechtam within the same Medina? So he's going to say that don't make that deal. That's not what the Mishnah means to say. Of course, in the same Medina, since it's Chutz La'aretz, you also have to say b'fanei nechtam. Lo tema habosa Medina Medina Semlot. So don't make that inference. That's the wrong inference. Medina Lamdina versus Rolot. So all the Mishnah meant to say, the diak is to say that from Medina Lamdina in Chutz La'aretz you have to say, but you can imply that you can infer from that if it will be Medina Lamdina and Eretz Yisrael, you don't have to say because the reason is Lishma. Again, Medina Lamdina and Eretz Yisrael depends on these two reasons. If the reason is Lishma, you don't have to say because they know Lishma. If the reason is because of verification, you do have to say because since it's two different Medinas, two different provinces in Eretz Yisrael, so there's no confirmation. You have to make sure to be able to verify the signatures. So Rabbi will say that in the Chutz La'aretz you have to say even within the same Medina, but just Mishnah wanted to tell you that within Eretz Yisrael, you don't have to say even from one province to another province. If Gemara says that, you need this Mishnah for. That's open Mishnah. It says openly the end of the Mishnah. And maybe you get Eretz Yisrael, that it says already, that in Eretz Yisrael you don't have to. So you don't have to have two Mishnahs to say the same thing. The Gemara says no, it's necessary to repeat it. If only would say in Eretz Yisrael it's not necessary, you would think post facto. If you didn't say it, it's kosher, but not that we take l'chatchila. Maybe l'chatchila you have to say b'fanei nechtav even in Eretz Yisrael. So the Mishnah said it twice to say no, you don't have to. In Eretz Yisrael you don't have to, and only in Medina Sayam and Medina Lamdina you have to. But in Eretz Yisrael you don't have to at all. So what do we have? What just happened now? The Gemara thought that it caught Rabbah because it's mashma. Then in the same country in Medina Sayam you don't have to say. Rabbah says it doesn't say that. Don't even b'dayik that. In the Chutz La'aretz you have to say because of Lishma. In Eretz Yisrael you don't have to say, even Medina Lamdina. The others have a different version to me medayik from the Mishnah. Again, we're still going in the Mishnah in the yellow that says Medina Lamdina, Medina Sayam you have to say. And now the Gemara is going to be medayik the other way. The others ask the kasha different version. They ask the kasha the opposite way. Medina Lamdina versus Rolotzer. The Rabbi Nichel Rabba kasha to make it deep the other way. That it is mashma that only in Chutz La'aretz Medina Lamdina has to say, but if it will be in Eretz Yisrael, Medina Lamdina in Eretz Yisrael, Lo Tzarech. And according to Rabba, there's no confirmation. The Gemara could have asked from the open Mishnah. Rashi points out the Mishnah says at the end that maybe get Eretz Yisrael Lo Tzarech, Esmash even Medina Lamdina. But the Gemara is going to take care of that also. But the kasha is, according to Rava, that the issue is because of confirming the signatures, the verification. So then you should even need an Eretz Yisrael also. So the Mishnah is mashma not like that. The Mishnah is mashma that only in Medina Sayyam you have to. So first the Gemara tries, the answer is not going to work. I put in parentheses just to show that it's not going to work. We're going to get back to what we think, that in Eretz Yisrael you don't have to, and Skach and Rava. But lo tema Medina Lamdina Eretz Yisrael lo tzorich alaima habosim Medina Sayyam lo self. The Gemara tries to wiggle out of it the same way that we just did, the opposite. That maybe the Mishnah doesn't mean to imply that two provinces in Eretz Yisrael you don't have to. Maybe in Eretz Yisrael you do have to also, because it has to do with confirmation. And Medina Lamdina, there's no travel, so you'd have to say in Eretz Yisrael also. What did the Mishnah say? Medina Lamdina Sayyam, just to infer that Ba'osa Medina Sayyam lo tzorich, because even though it's Medina Sayyam, they don't know Lishma, but Rav is not concerned with that. Everybody knows Lishma. The whole issue is only because of confirmation, to tell you that even in Chutz La'aretz you don't have to say if it's within the same country. But the Gemara says that doesn't fit. You can't learn that. Avrohom Medina versus Israel Ma'atzarich. You want to say that the Mishnah holds that you have to always say Medina because of confirmation. Listen, Medina Stam. There's no reason that the Mishnah would have said Medina Sayyam. In Chutz La'aretz, Medina has to say. It's not true. You're saying that you always have to say Medina. You always would have to say funny enough, no difference. Eretz Yisrael Chutz La'aretz, and the Mishnah should have said much simpler. If you hold it always has to do with confirmation, so it should have said Medina Stam. We would have known no difference. Eretz Yisrael Chutz La'aretz. The Mishnah is very much mashma that only in Chutz La'aretz, but in Eretz Yisrael you would not have to. And now Rava's in the corner. That Rava says the reason is because of verification of the signatures. So even in Eretz Yisrael you should have to Medina. What's the difference if it's Eretz Yisrael? So the Gemara says there is a difference. The Gemara says the reason is because of confirmation. Still, he's holding to his ground that the reason of the Fanei Nachtam is because of confirming the signatures. So, what's the difference if it's Eretz Yisrael? You're right. That in Eretz Yisrael you don't need. You know why? Because there is travel even in two different cities in Eretz Yisrael. Because everybody used to come to Ola Regel. Everyone came to be Ola Regel. So, even though there's no travel between different cities, Medina and Medina, but once, three times a year, everybody gets together, and if you need verification of a signature, you come to Yerushalayim, and over there you'll find anybody. You need to put up a sign. You need verification of signatures from the city of Tzfas, or we need from the verification from Beersheba. And in Yerushalayim, everybody comes together, and you'll be able to find verification. So that's the reason why you don't need to say B'fanei Nachtav, even in Medina Lamdina, since Eretz Yisrael, there's always traveling going on. But the Gemara says that's only when the Ola Regel. Agav, the mashma here that people didn't come to be Ola Regel from Chutz La'aretz, because then you could say that then even Medina Sayyam also people are coming. So it's mashma that they weren't Ola Regel from Chutz La'aretz.
Less
shliach maybe.
Only sukkahs.
The Gemara asks, that's only when the Beis Mikdash is standing. Then there's Ola Regel. That the Ola Regel is only with the Beis Hamikdash. When there's no Beis Hamikdash, there's no Ola Regel. So still, there wouldn't be travel. And the Mishnah is mashma that there's traveling, or even that in Eretz Yisrael you don't have to, even when the Beis Hamikdash is not standing. The answer is, there also there's travel. That there's another reason why people. There's another reason why people travel in Eretz Yisrael besides Ola Regel. They used to go to the Batei Dinim. In Chutz La'aretz, it seems that they didn't have Batei Dinim Kavuim, but in Eretz Yisrael they did. And the Rashi says Takana says there was a Takana to make Batei Dinim Bezdin should be open court for anybody who had a court issue. So people you'd be able to find traveling from all over, from the north, from the south. People came because they had to go to the Bezdin. So you'd be able to find verification. What happened so far? We tried another raya, and again nobody was knocked down. The question was about the Mishnah said Medina Lamdina but Medina Sayyam. First we attacked Rabba, that is mashma Medina Lamdina Beretz Yisrael that does Medina Lamdina Sayyam. I'm sorry. First the Gemara thought that it's against Rabba because it says Ba'osa Medina Sayyam does not need, but he deflected the kasha by saying it doesn't say that. It's just coming to tell you about Medina Lamdina Beretz Yisrael does not need, because the reason is Lishma. And the Gemara also tried to attack Rava that that's mashma Medina Beretz Yisrael you don't need. Why not? You need verification. And the answer is either because of all the regel or because of what they dinim. So that's why I agree that in Eretz Yisrael you don't need. That's to point out that the Gemara in the beginning of the Sukkah said that this is one of the nafkaminas. Medina Beretz Yisrael, according to Rava, you would need to say b'fanei nachla because the Gemara thought that there's no travel. Here the Gemara gives in and says that he also will it won't be enough community because there is verification in Eretz Yisrael in all the Shema, and there's also verification available because people are traveling around. Tanan, I'm sorry that I'm touching. Maybe I shouldn't be touching it. That's my problem. Okay, I'll try not to. Tanan, it says in the Mishnah that you do need to say from Medina to Medina. And Rav Shimon Gamliel said even from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction because there's no travel in between. And it sounds because of verification. Because as far as the Shema, they should not need. The Gemara has to prove that's talking about even in Eretz Yisrael. That's what we want from Rabbi Yitzchak. That there was an example of a jurisdiction, one city with two jurisdictions that there was no travel in between, was a city in Eretz Yisrael. And his name was Asasios. That happened to be the name Asasios Shema. And there were two jurisdictions showing that there wasn't travel in between. You weren't able to travel even within the same city. And that's the case why they said, the Mishnah, why Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that over there you also have to say the Fanei because there's not travel. That's what Rabbi Yitzchak said. Well, what do you see? That in Eretz Yisrael, since there's no travel in between the two parts of the city, you have to say if it's because of Lishma, so they know Lishma. What's the problem? According to Rabbi, that the reason is because of Lishma, you should not have to say in Eretz Yisrael, even if there's no travel, because the issue was Lishma, they know Lishma. So we finally came to a knockout question that we proved, like beyond the doubt, that there is a problem of verification. If the problem would only be Lishma, then you wouldn't have to say within Eretz Yisrael, even if there's no travel. And we found that that's not true. That in Eretz Yisrael, you do have to say b'fanei nechtav if there's no traveling in between. There's no communication. There's no verification available. So the Chard knocks out. It knocks out Rabbah. Yet Gemara gives in Rabbah is later Rabbah. This is like what do you call it? A game changer, something like that. This changes the players. That Rabbah, till now we thought that each one exclusively holds of his reason and not of the other reason. Here we give in that Rabbah also agrees to Rabbah. So now it changes everything. Everybody holds that there's a problem of verification. That the reason of B'fanei Nechem is definitely in order to be able to have a verification, and they will make with one aid is good enough, the shliach is enough. But Rabbah says he's still arguing. Rabbah says there's also an issue of lishma. Rabbah holds there's only an issue of verification. Rabbah agrees to that is verification, but he also holds there's a problem of lishma also. So it changes the picture. And Elamai Benai, before we thought in the beginning of the sugya, based on the base, we thought there were 3 nafkaminas. Now it goes down to 2 nafkaminas. Cases where there's no problem of verification, Rava says no problem because he's not concerned with Lishma. Rava didn't have this thing that maybe there's a problem of Lishma. He does have a problem of verification. In the case where 2 Eidim bring the get and they could verify it themselves, or in Medina when you're in the same city, so then there's available confirmation if you're going to need it. So Rabbi will say you don't need b'fanei nechtav. But Rabbi says there's also an issue of lishma, and in Medina Sayyam or from Medina Sayyam, you have to be cautious that they don't know lishma, and therefore there's another reason to say b'fanei nechtav. So we still have a machlokas, but it changed. Before we thought that they're exclusively arguing, and now we're saying everybody agrees the issue was about verification of the signatures, and Rabbi says it's also a problem of lishma. The reason why Rabbi didn't want to agree to Rabbi, the Gemara says, is because you shouldn't have to have b'fanei nechtav. Only b'fanei nechtam. That's what that was. The Gemara said a few pages ago. Why does Rabbi not hold like Rabbi? The Gemara said because if it's only because of verification, they only should have said b'fanei nechtam. Rabbi answered the question because you want to make a distinction. They shouldn't think that 1 aid is good enough for any kind of verification, only by get. But Rabbi wasn't happy with that. He said b'fanei nechtam is mashrik because of the Shema. So we're going to continue trying to bring a proof, but now we have to look for a proof that's going to attack Rabbi on this extra point that he holds that is also an issue of Lishma. Now, I have to do that. Okay. 4 lines from the bottom. Tanan. I maybe get me dinner sayom any yachaloma. We didn't have this Mishnah yet. It's later on. It says on that test. I maybe get me dinner sayom any yachaloma b'fanei nechtam. For some reason, he wasn't able to say it. It seems like he could say it. He has the information. He saw the writing. He saw the signing. But for some reason, he's not able to say it. If there are Eidim that can confirm the signatures, they should do that. If not, it sounds like it's a problem. But there's a case here where he wasn't able to say. And the Gemara is going to try to bring a right to this issue about Rabba and Rabba. Ravinan over there, we asked. The word Ravinan, bottom line, means we asked. We asked Shabbat Mishnah over there. My Ben Yachalama, what's the case that he wasn't able to say? If it's because he's a deaf mute, that's why he can't say. No, he's not coached to bring a get at all. Cheresh by Yisui Gitu, is a Cheresh a person who could bring a get? But no, I call Shem Lovi as a get. That a deaf mute and somebody who's a shota, how do you translate a shota? Retarded, or a katan, a minor, they're not kosher to bring a get. So this person couldn't bring a get at all. So it can't be that. It has to be somebody who could bring a get, and he wasn't able to say it. And Rav Yosef over there explained, that he was well, and he saw the writing, he saw the signing, he was ready, he gave it to her, he's ready to say it, but now technically he can't say it because he became a cheresh. Maybe also okay, so technically he can't say it. So the question is, if you don't have the Mishnah, the point is that the Mishnah says that just do kiyum. If you don't have the funny nechtam, so just do kiyum. Just verify. If you have signatures, if you have eidim, fine. That means you're missing the funny nechtam. That's a problem. If you have eidim to verify the signatures, you're okay. So that makes sense if told issue was only because of verification. But Rabbah said the problem is also lishma. So why does it help that you verify the signatures? Rabbah says there are two problems. You also have to take care of making sure that it was lishma. The Rabbah Nicha, the Rabbah Kasha. Each kasha is going to be against Rabbah. That we're going to show different cases where it's enough just to get verification. And Rabbah says you also have to take care of lishma. So here Rabbah says, and we're going to Rabbah says, and we're going to see it a couple of times, and we're going to see it openly, that there was a time in Chutz La'aretz that they also got to know lishma. When did it happen? I don't know exactly, but at a certain time in history, the level of learning changed, and even in Chutz La'aretz they know the lishma.
Just the young, not necessarily everyone.
Before the Gemara said Rav Samfi the Dani, Rashi before said he might find the get in the street, and the garbage.
The learning went down.
It went up.
It went up. So
and they now know lishma. Even though they know lishma, even though Chutz La'aretz at one point they didn't know lishma, and even then the Gemara said before Ro became lishma, and even Miyuta the Miyuta because Safra the Daini, the scribes know it. So even originally it was only Rabbanan, but then they came more learned. I don't know what happened exactly, and then there's no problem of lishma anymore. So Rabbah himself, who's the whole person of Lishma, he says it was only originally, but then they got more learned and there's no problem of Lishma. But the Gemara says if there's no problem, so take down your opinion. If that's true, so then even if the person could say Lishma, you shouldn't be concerned because there's no problem over Lishma anymore. And just verification, and you say that there is a problem. Rabbi is saying a machlokas. Rabbi said, "Asiyu betray," or also Medina of Medina Sayam. He says you do have to say if you say that they know the Shema, so the whole thing is over. The Gemara says they might become ignorant again. Right now they are yeshivas and they're learning. They know the Shema, but it could be they're going to go down again. Eretz Yisrael, we see that it's more stable, but Chutz La'aretz it's ups and down. So you do say you have to say the funny nachtav, even if there's no problem of the Shema right now, there might be. So they held on to the takana. But here, by the person of the Yochel, they made an exception. That's the most kasha why make an exception. If so, even if he's not able to because he became laryngitis, he lost his voice. So also you should not accept the get with verification alone because you made a takana. Why are you being mekel? The answer is the whole thing is only becoming only Rabbanan because of the Gezerah. The whole issue in the beginning was only Rabbanan, and then it became now they know Lishma. It's only Gezerah, they might become unlearned again. So we're not going to make that in a case where the whole case is not a usual case. This case of somebody getting laryngitis right there after he gave the get is very seldom it happens such a thing. So we're not going to make Gezerah in such a case to possible to get as long as you get verification. We try to do it. In most cases, we'll say you should say b'panei nechtav, but if you can't, so we'll say it's okay. There was a kasha that you find other cases where they're not shchiach, which are not usual, and according to your cloud, that if it's not shchiach, you should forego on this Gezerah. But if we didn't forego, but a woman to bring her own get is not a usual thing. If a husband had contact with his wife and he wants to give her a get, he gives her a get. Why should you do a fancy case? Take the get and bring it to the bezin over there, and then over there they'll give it to you. That's not a usual case. And if you say that on the usual case, on an unusual case, you don't have to say b'fanei nechtav because there's no real problem of lishma. So how come they said over there you do have to say b'fanei nechtav? The answer is shelo tachlok b'shlichos. They made like a low plug. That any kind of a shliach is a normal shliach, not the case of Dana Yochel, but these cases of a man, a woman, the woman herself, we're not going to make a chiluk, and we're going to say that she has to say it because like a low plug. The Gemara says Yochi Baal Nami. If you're making this low plug, then you should say low plug means all the way that you didn't differentiate, and anybody that brings the get has to say the funny nechtav. And the question is even the husband himself. That's a real fancy case. The husband himself is bringing a get, but he brought the get pre-written and pre-signed. Usually, if the husband would be able to give the get, so we'll tell him write it here, get them over here. He came with a pre-prepared get, and he has it all ready, and he wants to give the get to his wife. Does he have to say b'fanei nechtav? So, if you say the reason is because of shelo tachlok b'shlichos, so maybe the husband himself should also have to say Yochi Baal Nami. If the husband himself brings the get, also he should have to say b'fanei nechtav. Alom Atanya. Why did we learn in the Brisa? If the husband brings the get, he doesn't have to say b'fanei nechtav. But according to your new pshat, that shelo tachlok, it doesn't have to make sense. That's a low plug. He should also have to say b'fanei nechtav. The answer is the only reason we have to make this b'fanei nechtav is because the husband might come and make a rumor against the get that it's not kosher, and we want to make sure there are no rumors against the get. But hashta minkat nakale biyadei v'ruah kamara, he himself is bringing the get. He brought the get. It's going to look very bad for him to say that it wasn't a kosher get if he himself was the one who brought it. If a shliach brought it, he could say that it wasn't under it was forged, it wasn't. But if he brought it, then there's very small chash he's going to come with a rumor. So the Gemara got out of the kasha. Well, again, just to sum it up, Rabba gave in to Rabba that Rabba, he's also concerned about confirmation that the Gemara gave in, but Rabba says it's also a problem of lishma. And the Gemara's kasha was that it says if the aide wasn't able to, if the shliach wasn't able to say b'fanei nechtav, so it's good enough if you get confirmation. Why not concern with lishma? Rabbi answered that it's talking about la'achash shalamdu after they learned, and it's only xerish and mechzadav l'kukula that it's going to get. It might happen again. The situation might fluctuate and become unlearned. That's only a zera, and we didn't do it in a case where it's not usual. And this case of Pekech and Escharish is an unusual case. So Rabbi again got out of the kasha. Next kasha, Tashma. This is not going to be a Mishnah or a Brashta. This is only Rav Huna, but the more holds it to be a kasha also. At least a Rai what Rav Huna holds. Small asked Rav Huna. Shnam if you get Medina Sayam. Svichen Sham b'fanei nechtav b'fanei nechtav or ein svichen. Two people brought the get, which we said this is the case of the machlokes. One case was two people bringing it, or they brought it in the Medina Sayam within the same city. So that was a machlokes. According to Rabbi, you don't need to say b'fanei nechtav because you have verification. It's two Eidim. And according to Rabbi, that's because of Lishma, you should have to say b'fanei nechtav. So here we have a mamish's case that Shmuel asked Rav Huna, what's the din if two people brought the get? You have to say b'fanei nechtav or not. Amalei ein smichim. You don't have to. That's mamish like Rabbi against Rabbi. And he says, they could even just say without the get. They could say that we know that she was divorced. That's good enough. So if they say that we bring in the get, so they don't have to say b'fanei nechtav. And according to Rabba, there's a problem about lishma. The Rabbi Nichel Rabba Kasha. How come Rav Huna says that you don't have to say b'fanei nechtav if you have two people because it's verification, but your problem of lishma? Once again, the same terror. If it would have been originally when they didn't know the Shema, then you would have to say b'fanei nechtav, even if it's two people. But this case, when it's talking about that they learned in the first Lawrence, they became learned and they know they didn't have the Shema, and that's why you don't have to say. The Gemara goes through the next 20 lines, 10 lines, is more or less the same Gemara we just had. So then you shouldn't have to have b'fanei nechtav at all if there's no issue of the Shema. Here the Mepharshim say it means chadnami in a case where there's no verification problem. If it'll be in a case where there's no verification problem, are you going to say that the Shema is not an issue? Of course, if you need verification, so then you have to have b'fanei nechtav because of that. But in the case where there's not going to be a verification issue, so like in the same city or something, so are you going to say you don't need b'fanei nechtav? No, maybe they're going to again forget. They're going to become unlearned and forget the din of the Shema. So we still held on to it. You have to say b'fanei nechtav because of once upon a time. Yachi Beitrei Nami. So then, even if two people we bring it also, how come he said you don't have to have b'fanei nechtav? You should keep on to the Xera still. So the rest of the Gemara is all the same. Beitrei Demaisu Gita Milsad Lashchicha or Milsad Lashchicha Lagaza Baraban. Same idea, same pattern as before. That only made the Xera when it's a usual thing. This is unusual. Before the case of unusual was that a person was a Pekech and a Scharish. Here the case why it's unusual is because two people don't usually bring a get. Usually you make one person as a shliach. So since it's not shliach, they didn't make the takana. and everything is all Chazara. Isha, all this still, this next 10 lines is all mamish word for word. Isha, the copy and paste. Isha, the lo shchicha, tanan, Isha asma mevi gita, bashi asma tzricha lomar, b'fanei nechtam, b'fanei nechtam, that a woman herself could bring the get, but she has to say b'fanei nechtam. And you're saying that it's not shchiach, so you shouldn't have to. Then switch lo tachla b'shlichos. They made a little plug that it should be across the board. Everybody has to say. You're right. According to logic, you shouldn't have to say. But since you want to make a across the board, so we said the woman herself will just say b'fanei nechtam. Yachi Balnam, you want to say he's so extreme, so then the husband also, he brings the get himself that was already pre-written and signed, he should also have to say, Alam Batanya, who asked Moshe Gito in the and you're saying that the low plug, so say the husband also should have to say. Same man says before, till Mosi Balmar pass away. Probably is why we say that it's said funny is because the husband we're not really worried about anything. Because the husband might come and make noise and make the get like it doesn't look good and make problems for the wife. So here we're not Chosh is going to do that because he himself bought the get. He's not going to come and say later on that it was forged or something. He's the one who brought it. So Rava got out of that. Just to summarize that Gemara, that how come two people to bring a get? Rav Huna says don't have to say funny nechtav. If the issue is Lishma, same answer. He's going to always say the same answer again. That this issue of Lishma, but there was a time Lacha Shalamdu that they did learn about it. It's only because we still keep on the precaution, they might become unlearned again. For that, we make exceptions if it's not Shchiyah. Next proof. I think this is the last one. And the sugi is coming to a close soon. Tashma, maybe get Medina Sayam. When his son-in-law, he gave it to her, and he didn't say. He came, gave the get. He forgot to say and he's not here anymore. So in the sky of Kashi, if you verify the signatures, it's okay. If he doesn't verify, if you don't verify the signatures, there's a problem. And the price ends off. We can see from here. So we see. I think that's how you pronounce it. The only reason why Chazal instituted to say B'fanei Nachtam is for a leniency that instead of having two Eidim to verify the signatures, one is good enough. They didn't make it as a Chumrah, they made it as a Kula. If you didn't utilize the Kula by getting the Shliach didn't say it, so get verification, and that's you have to have two Eidim then. But it's not a Chumrah, it's only a Kula, and if you didn't use the Kula, so get verification. But the Rabba Nichel, the Rabba Kasha, according to Rabba, no, the reason to say B'fanei Nachtam is not only a leniency, it's a chumrah, because we're concerned about the Shema. And how is it good enough to have verification of the signatures? We don't know if it's the Shema. So again, the third time, the same Torah, once upon a time when they had a problem with the Shema, it wouldn't be good with verification alone. You have to know that it was the Shema. But after they learned, in Chutz La'aretz, they became learned, they know, then we say that it's just enough to get verification. You said that because of the Gzera that people might forget the Shema. But here the case was she got married already, so but yeah, but we're not going to be machmir on her. Yachi, but the words don't make sense. It says in the Brisa that you see from all this that it's only a kula, it's not a chumrah. It's not true. It's really a chumrah that you want to know about the Shema. It's not just a kula to say you don't need two verifications. One is good enough. It's really a chumrah. The reason why you have to have B'fanei Nachtam is because of the Shema. That's she's saying. When she got married, we're not going to be machmir because it's only a gzeira.
Does Havi Lo Hitzruchu mean Raya from here, or it's an explanation why?
Now, either way, the Bryce is talking. The Bryce is part of the Bryce. Maybe it's from here. You see. Is that not good?
I would prefer, I don't know. I don't know the lesson of Havi, but I prefer that it's just an explanation why.
But if it's learning out from here, it also could be that the Bryce says, since this halacha is true, so we can see that it's only I think in the Lashonis of the Midrashim, I think it's how it goes. So that's the Gemara's kasha, that is very nice shot. You're saying because she got married, we're not going to be machmir b'diavad post facto, and the whole thing's only because of Xera, they might become unlearned again, but we're really not choshish right now. They know the Shema, so don't say the reason of the B'fanei Nachtam is only a leniency. It's not. It's really in order to find out that's the Shema. You're saying with the Eved, in this case, we're not going to be machmir, so the words don't make sense. Well, that should be in quotations. Does that make sense? That's not the real reason. The reason why you're being makel is because you're married already, but the other, they're not going to tell them to get divorced. So the bar fits it into the words. We should be machmir, the lifka, and make her get divorced. So they said, no, we're not going to be machmir so much. That's all it means. The reason is because of lishma. Rabbi's going to say the reason is because of lishma. But over here, it's not relevant because we're not going to be so machmir because she got married. You might think be machmir, and even though she got married, make her get divorced. No, as the Gemara explains in number base, time of my bill must be balmaro pasale, hasha balo kamara, and not nakum and arala. That whole thing is a chash because a rumor the husband might come and make trouble for his ex-wife. And here we're not choshes for that because he himself, because the husband didn't come yet. He didn't come yet, so we're not going to be machmir. We're not going to be machmir. If we're not going to be machmir to tell to get divorced if the husband didn't come yet. If the husband comes, we'll have to figure it out. We'll have to get verification. But as long as the husband didn't come, we're not going to make a problem. Again, verification. If he comes with small problems, we'll have to find out. But if he doesn't come with any problems, we're not going to make problems. The sugi is over, almost a little bit more, but the sugi is more or less over. And we had a machlokes Rab and Rava. What the reason of this whole thing of Fanechtam? We came out with a proof from the Hegmunya case that over there, everybody has to agree that even in Eretz Yisrael, if there's a problem of transportation, of confirmation, you do have to say before Fanechtam because of the confirmation. Everybody agrees to that. The verification of the signatures is the most important. But Rabbi says there's also a problem of Lishma in the Chutzlaretz because the reason why it's bothering him, like the Gemara said before, he wouldn't have had to say before Nechtam, only before Nechtam. And that shows there's an issue of Lishma also. But he also agrees there was a time that they learned in the Chutzlaretz, and therefore it's not going to be so serious anymore. The problem about the issue about Lishma. And in certain cases, we're going to be Mekel. One case was if there was the kef and the scharish, something strange happened, or the woman herself brought the get, which also is not usual, or if she got married already, we're not going to make her get divorced, because the whole thing is only nowadays, it's only going to be, maybe they're going to forget again. So the whole thing is zero. We're not going to be machmir in cases where it's not so, where nothing's pressing, or that it's not a usual case. So it comes down to machlokes. Everybody else's verification is a leniency, that 1 8 is enough instead of 2. And whenever there's a verification issue, you do have to say before Nechtav, like in Agmunya in Eretz Yisrael, Medina in Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara said before that maybe in Eretz Yisrael there is traveling. That's okay, that can still stay. That regular Eretz Yisrael, or the regalim, or but they didn't, there is travel within Eretz Yisrael. But if there's any reason why there's no travel, like Corona or something like that, whatever it might be, whatever is going to be Agmunya, something like that where there's no traveling, or some place where they can't go, where the border doesn't allow travel in between. So then you would have to say everybody agrees. Rabbah says it's also issue of Lishma, and Racha Shalom that we're going to be making in any case, which is not pressing. Now the Gemara finds that this machlokes Rabbah and Rava is an older machlokes. It's really an older machlokes. It wasn't only Rabbah and Rava, it's an earlier Amar Rav, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shulchan Levi about this machlokes mamish. Chadam l'fishem b'kin Lishma, v'chadam l'fishem b'edem l'songin l'kaim, but mamish is machlokes. And we said already, everybody holds the issue of Kiyum. The question is also the issue of Lishma, and you have machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shulchan Levi. Who holds what? The one first the Gemara doesn't know. And then it says, this Dayan, Rabbi Shulchan Levi, Yudam l'fishem b'kin Lishma. I could bring you a story to prove that Rabbi Shulchan Levi is the one who holds like Rabbah because of Lishma. What's the story? Rabbi Shimon bar Abba, I see Gita l'kamei Rabbi Shulchan Levi. Rabbi Shimon bar Abba was a shliach for a get, and he came to the Bezdin of Rabbi Shulchan Levi. Amalei and Rabbi Shimon bar Abba asked Rabbi Shulchan Levi, do I have to say b'fanei nechtav or not? So he said, no, you don't have to. Amalei lo tzrichas. Why? No, Amar l'b'dos Rishonim Shem b'kei Lishma. Although b'dos Achronim they became Lishma lo. Only once upon a time they didn't know Lishma. Then they said you have to. The whole thing is because of Lishma, and now you don't have to, because nowadays we know it already. This time it's a good proof that the B'shuv Levi is the one who says Lishma, but the Gemara jumps up. It doesn't make sense because that's when it's saying that Rabbah agrees to Rabbah, and even if you know Lishma, you still have to say b'fanei nechtav because of the verification problem. That's the Gemara's kasha. Rashi points out that the Gemara is not attacking. That's a good proof that B'shuv Levi is the one who says because of Lishma. He says it. It says the only reason is because of Lishma. So you see, he holds the issue as Lishma. But the kasha is he also should agree to verification also. But this Rabbah basically the Rabbah. So everybody agrees it's a verification problem. And if Rabbi Shimon Rabbah came only as one, so he should have to say, even though there's no Lishma problem, but he should have to say b'fanei nechtav because of key of kiyum to verify the signatures. But second of all, even though they did learn, Rabbi said you have to be concerned they're going to forget again. So what does it mean just because they learned it in Chutz La'aretz, so you don't have to say funny nechtam? The answer is they take out the word Ella maybe Rav Shimon bar Rabba in Shachmin have a bad day. There was somebody else there. He didn't come by himself. Rav Shimon bar Rabba was together with somebody else. It was a case of two. It was a case of two people bringing, and that's why Shimon bar Rabba says you don't have to say. According to what? If there are two people, then everybody would say you don't have to say. Really, Rav also says there two people came. You have them confirmation. You don't have to say before nechtam. But if it's Shimon bar Rabba, he spoke out that the reason is once upon a time you would have had to say because of Lishma, and nowadays you don't have to say anymore because they know Lishma. That answers both questions. So the Gemara is happy. The first is finished, and it came out as machlokus is because of verification only, and there's a leniency that one is enough, or there is also because of Lishma, and even in cases where it's verified, you still Lachatchila would tell you to say before nechtam because of Lishma. In order that Shem Yachzeh, because the Shash of Shem Yachzeh Devil L'Tultula. New sugya. Okay, that was about 3 pages. About Beis, Gimel, Dalet, and half a page. Okay, 3.5 daf about that sugya. And now goes a new sugya, Itma, which we had mentioned this before, and now we're going to see it at length. Itma, but if they come on those in front of how many people does the shliach give the get over to the woman? When the shliach gives the get to the woman, how many people does he have to give it in front of? Some say 2, some say 3, and we had the machlokes. The Gemara mentioned it before without going into it, and that's why the Gemara said that therefore when the shliach gives it over, he's medayik when he gets it from the husband that he really wants to give it. It's a whole ordeal. They make a big deal out of it. He has to give it in front of 2 people or 3 people. So therefore, they'll make sure the husband is interested in giving it. He's not going to come later on and make rumors.
And say Shneim, is the shliach included as well?
Oh, very nice. So the shliach is not included. When it says 2, it means 2 besides the shliach, and 3 means besides the shliach. So before we go further, the Gemara wants to know who holds what. It just says one says this, one says that. Before, that's to point out the Gemara before about the 2 reasons of the Shema or Kiyam also was Rabbi Yochanan, but over there is Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Here's going to be Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Chanina. But the Gemara is going to come back to this case before about Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi. So first of all, to stand Rabbi Yochanan Udam Rabbi Fnei Shtam. I could bring you a proof that Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says 2, and Rabbi Chanina is the one who says 3. What was the story? The Rovin bar Rav Chisda, I see Git Lakamed Rabbi Yochanan. The Rovin, the son of Rav Chisda, is a shliach to bring a get in front of Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan told him, Zil Havla Ba'api Trey. Go give her the get in front of 2 people. So if and say b'fanei nechtam, so you see that he's the one who holds you have to have 2. This time, the good proof, Rabbi Yochanan is the one who holds 2. What's the machlokes? Why 2? Why 3? What are you arguing about? Why should it be 2? Why should it be 3? The man dama b'fnei shnayim kasav b'shem b'kiyam l'shma. The Gemara thinks that if it's because of Lishma, all you need is a testimony. So you have to give like any kind of get to giving over. So he gives over the get in front of Eidim. That'll be the get. The get is taking place now, and he said before that everything's fine. We have no doubt it's Lishma, and the get is a good get because he came in front of Eidim. But if you hold that, it's going to be a confirmation now that now he's going to confirm the signatures. Confirmation has to be in front of a bezdin. That's the reason why you should have to have 3. To confirm the signatures, you have to have a bezdin. So that would make sense. The one who says 2 says not confirming the signatures, and the one who says 3, you are confirming the signatures. But the more as the kasha on that, I think the more could have asked. Everybody holds you have to confirm the signature. The Russian is saying everybody holds it's also for confirmation. I'm not sure if the Gemara is going to ask that. But this bro, the more the kasha, you can't say that. The cheshbon doesn't work out. Over there we came out that the Shub Levi is the one who says because of Lishma, and process of elimination comes out. Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says because of Kiyum. So Rabbi Yochanan holds the reason is because of Kiyum, and he's the one who says over here 2. That doesn't fit with your cheshbon. You said the one who says Kiyum has to hold 3. The Gemara also could have asked, here's the kasha. But I just read the words. I didn't read the words inside. It is bro. Since Rabbi Shua ben Levi is the one who says "Ein Mekiyim Lishma," the sugi before on top of the page, Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says "Efishen Eidim Masuyin L'Kaimo," and here he's the one who says 2. He should be the one to say 3. And that's a simple kasha. Rabbi Slay the Rover. Everybody else you have to have confirmation. And if you say that confirmation has to have a bezdin, everyone should hold 3. Ella the Kul Yama Binan Eidim Masuyin L'Kaimo. Everyone else you have to confirm it now and therefore you should have to have three. So how come two is enough? Could the aid also be a dayan also? That's what Moshe said before. Could he also count? So Rashi just says that the shliach nasa aid, put in parentheses whenever it's going to say now. That's not our issue now. If a shliach can become an aid, that's not the subject now. The subject is only aid nasa dayan. Could an aid become a dayan also? He's the one who's testifying. Could he also be counting as the
shliach can become an aid?
Right, and that's not our subject over here.
We're just putting together because it's the same achliks, I guess.
Oh no, everyone. They wasn't going to say everybody holds shliach nasa aid. The question is if you hold aid nasa dayan or not. All we want is aid nasa dayan. So, as much as I didn't look into shliach nasa aid, but here the question is aid nasa dayan. He's coming and he's testifying that this is he's the aid who's confirming the signature. Could he also be part of the bezdin to put a stamp of approval that there's somebody testifying? So it's a machlokes. Maybe that's going to be a machlokes. So if you hold aid nasa dayan, you don't need three others to be the bezdin. You have two, and you also be part of the bezdin.
I think we take the bird brings us down shliach nasa aid because that's the process. First he's a shliach, then he becomes an aid. Now that he's an aid, then he become a dayan.
Is that what Rashi says?
That's the jump. That's the progression.
Let's see. Okay, Rashi doesn't explain too much. I guess that's what it means. Okay.
I mean, why is it there?
Okay, good. B'shliach nasa aid, that's not going for you. Now
And
then,
also we're talking about an aid. He's not an aid. He's a shliach. So
yes, okay.
the shliach nasa aid, and that.
So he's gonna testify that he knows the case. He's gonna confirm the signatures. But funny enough, he holds that he can also act as a dayan. So you don't need another three. It's another two plus him is three. It's a dayan. Why you have to have three other people besides him? Yes, but ain't nasa dayan. So that's what the more thinks. Maybe that's going to be the machlokus. The reason if you have to have three or not, if the shliach who's an aid, could he also be the dayan? But the Gemara says no, that wouldn't be a machlokes. Well, kaimulam b'rabbanan the aid nasa dayan. The Gemara knows from someplace else that everybody holds that by issue is only the rabbanan. This question over here was saying it's only the rabbanan. We said in the beginning of the Masechta, this whole issue about the confirmation is only the rabbanan because with the Raisa signatures are considered verified. You don't ask questions for forgeries, so it's only the rabbanan. So everyone knows aid nasa dayan. So over here to make confirmation for the signature, you shouldn't have to have three. Why does anybody hold you have to have three? Here's the machlokes. The ma'aseh v'chim the isha ksher l'abiyas. I get zimna the ma'aseh la'itza the samchi that a woman also could, any woman could bring a shliach, and they said that a woman is good enough to say b'fanei nachtam. That's good enough. But for bezdin she can't be. So in a case when a woman's going to come to say b'fanei nachtam, you surely have to have three, and they're not going to realize. They're going to think their standard procedure here. We have our protocol. The protocol is to have two more, and they don't realize protocol is good when a man brings, but if a woman brings, you have to have three. So they made exera that always have three. Really, it's enough to have two, but sometimes you're going to have a third one because the woman is going to bring a shliach and aid. That's not good enough. So therefore, you have to have three. That's what I'm saying. You have to make exera. When a woman comes, everybody knows she can't be the dayan, and you have to have a third one. And therefore, as long as the man is coming, it's enough to have two. Tani Kabasa de Avrohom, that two is enough, which means you don't make the exera. And maybe get the sayam, the nasan love funny. It's a fancier case, but we're going to get to the words over here b'fnei shnayim that only give a get. You only have to say b'fanei nachtam in front of two. Here has a case where you forgot to say b'fanei nachtam. If somebody gave the get and he forgot to say it, Yotzi b'avlad mamzer, Divrei Meir. Terrible. The get's not a good get, and she got married with this get, and the kid's going to be a mamzer. It's a puzzle get. And even if she married, the kid is a mamzer because she's a married woman that got remarried. They're not going to make it as serious as her marriage does. Okay, said Yasi, I don't know for me. I didn't learn it yet, so I don't know if this means that if they didn't do this eitzah, then it is going to be a mamzer. I don't know yet. But Kate said Yasi. I asked if she didn't do the tikkun. If they didn't do it,
what does Yasa mean?
What should you do?
She blind.
Oh,
should we do it? Take it again. That he should take it back from the woman and give it again. Rabbi doesn't hold that. Rabbi also can't give it again. I'm not sure. But the thing about a mamzer, I'm not sure. I didn't see this yet. That if you didn't do it again, everybody will hold that she's a mom. That the kid's a mamzer. If she got married without saying funny nachtam. The only question is if you can do it again.
I
If
think
you
they
can
say
do it.
because I remember calling
That's two lines later. What does it mean? You can't do it again anymore. So do it again. So do it a second time. Why can't you do it a second time? I didn't look into it yet.
Maybe meet without doing the second time.
So then the Rabbanan say even if you didn't do it a second time, it says Kate said Yasa. The Chum also mashma that it's not a mamzer if you do it the right way. But if you, I'm not sure. I didn't see it. Maybe it's Rashi right here. I didn't see it. But what does the Gemara want from all this? It says b'fnei shnayim So you see that though, it could have said on the first time around also, that how you supposed to give it, supposed to give it in front of two. That's not much like a Yochanan. Because the Kwachabi Hanina, you have to have three. Here's a price, Tani Kavasa Rabbi Yochanan, that you give it in front of two. In case of Yasi, it led a man of Yasi, then a little bit finished nine, the Yoma, funny enough. The Gemara sends off now, a couple of more lines, Rav Meir, because he didn't say Fanach, the kids of Mamza. The whole thing is Rabbana. Rav Meir, Mishum Dalam Fanach Fanach Yosef Avlad Mamza. It's only Rabbana. In Rav Meir Tamei, Dam Rav Damnuna, Bishmei De Ula Amari Rav Meir, Kalam Meshana, Meladvesh, Double Chachamim, the gitin of Yosef Avlad Mamza. Even though it's only Rabbana B'chora, but if you don't do the way Rabbanan said, the kids of Mamza, what does that mean? That Rabbanan took away the get. They made the Tani good get even on the Raisa level. So I didn't see all this. This was all the last second. See any Rashi over here if we have a minute or two. Mishum de La'ama Yotzi, but we have a get kosher, but Panav Nechta, but Mishum de La'ama have a blood Mamza says yes. So I have to see more. I didn't see enough yet on that last point. That's the end of the sugya. Just to sum it up. They made a takana to say Panav Nechta. The reason is surely because of confirmations. Any place where Edom are not available to verify if we're going to need them. So you have to say Panei Nechtam. There's a leniency over there that one is believed. Rabbi says that there's also an issue of Lishma, and even though he also agrees that they learned in Chutz La'aretz, and therefore nowadays not such a problem, but they still make the Gzera, they might become unlearned again to say it anyway. But in case where it's not Shchiach or she got married already, so we're not going to make we're not going to say it's okay because they really do know Lishma. The Gemara put this the Machlokes Rav and Rav is Machlokes Rabbi Shua ben Levi and Rabbi Yochanan. That is true. And then the Gemara says Machlokes, if when the shliach gives it over, it has to be in front of two or three. Everybody holds that you need verification, and it's going to be a good verification, even though it's only in front of two. How's that? Because Eid Nasadayan. So the one who comes and says Panei Nechtav, he also comes as the Bezdin, and that's good enough. But there are some said the Chatzir is given in front of three, because sometimes the shliach is going to be a woman and she can't be part of the Bezdin, and they might not realize, and over there also use only two, it's always get three. And at the end, they had a case about someone gave a get and he did not say Panei Nechtav. So it says there's an eitzah to do it again. And I'm not sure if Rabbi Meir holds it. There's no eitzah to do it again. I don't know how to read this. I hope tomorrow we'll get clarification on that. And Rabbi Meir holds that if they didn't do it, so then, and she got married anyway, so then the kid is going to be a mamzer because as if she never got a get. A married woman that had a relationship with another man, the kid's going to be a mamzer.
Yes.
That's a call.
That's shot clock.
So we
got up to the right. We got up every day.
So we got up to
On the dot.
Welcome home.
Nice to see you.